Civil rights. Civil rights relate to the duties of citizenship and opportunities for civic participation that the government is obliged to protect. They are based on the expectation of equality under the law. The most important, arguably, is the right to vote. With regard to civil rights, the government can engage in state-sponsored or public discrimination, treat people equally but permit private discrimination, or try, as it has since the 1960s, both to treat people equally and to prevent individuals or businesses from discriminating. It falls on the government to protect individuals against unequal treatment and to citizens to ensure that government does not discriminate against individuals or groups. During the nation's first century and even after, state laws and the national government actively discriminated against people on the basis of race, gender, and ethnic background. Now, during the nation's second century, discrimination was sponsored mainly in the South. Elsewhere, private discrimination was practiced without challenge. Today, public discrimination has been ended by constitutional amendments and the courts, largely through the 14th Amendment, the Equal Protection Clause. Beginning in the 1950s, litigation and grassroots protests led the federal government to end segregation in securing voting rights for African Americans and to end limits to women's full participation in public life. The expanded notion of equality promoted by the civil rights and women's rights movements have inspired other groups, such as homosexuals and gays, and the disabled, to demand full access to equality. The extension of rights for some might involve the loss of privileges for others, and sometimes these rights clash. Congress and the courts seek to define the meaning and limits of rights in new areas of contention. The trend has always been for a broader meaning of equality and greater support of civil rights. Ask yourself, have all the civil rights battles been won? What disability rights organizations exist in your community? Can you think of instances of profiling in the news or in your community? Try to analyze the racial and ethnic composition of the prison populations and ask yourself if prohibiting voting rights for felons is discriminatory or not. Also consider this. The Constitution states that any child born within the U.S., even of illegal immigrants, are automatically U.S. citizens. Do you think the Constitution should be amended with regard to citizenship? Take a look at the discussion assignment. Assignments may be a funny word because it's an extra credit participation. But anyway, the discussion questions regarding these issues, and let me know your own thoughts. Remember, there's no wrong thoughts. All there is are your thoughts.